Hello. Welcome to another episode of This Is Our Year, Doug.
Hey, Mikey.
Reverse overreaction for the opening game of the season of the NFL season.
Good to see you, buddy, man. Let's
Good
you
to see you
drinking?
too.
I already got started. Figured
Yeah,
we'd kind of bring back the spirit of the show, right? It's about
I'm drinking.
commiserating over the pain we
Yeah,
subject ourselves to, and honestly, should we even be proud of being fans of dysfunctional franchises? After a while, isn't it like our own fault?
it's definitely. I mean, it's like misery. Misery loves company, right?
Right.
Sports doesn't love you back. Although, um, I was watching. Not that we talk about English Premier League football on podcasts very often ever, but I was watching the
Hotspur.
uh, Tottenham Hotspur versus Sheffield United, who just got promoted from the relegation. And I don't know if you guys don't know, look it up. I don't want to go into English Premier League football rules right now because that's not what this podcast is about. But Sheffield United was winning 1-0, and there was 12 minutes of stoppage time.
Well, I'm sorry. Was this the debut game of the season, or is this
No,
just a random?
this was
Okay.
just what it was on the random morning,
All right.
and I figured I'd have it on in the
But
background.
anyway, this underdog ass team had a
Yeah, so I guess I will explain how it works. Like, uh, the EPL, you have the bottom three teams at the end of the season. There's 20 teams. The bottom three teams at the end of the season go down to like basically
right.
for baseball terminology,
AAA.
AAA.
Yeah,
Right, but it's called like the championship league or something like that.
it's
And then
quite compressed.
the top three teams. Well, it's called the English Premier League pyramid. It's actually, if
Yeah,
you've ever seen Welcome to Wrexham,
right.
um,
It's like 9 tiers, right?
yeah, I think
It's
there's
crazy.
six. And to get
6.
from the bottom to the top it's been done. There's actually a team called Luton Town
Yeah,
in the that just got promoted from the championship to EPL this year, and they
it's
were all the
kind of
way
cool
down
that
in the
it's
bottom tier.
theoretically possible. Sorry to cut you off. But
Yeah, and it's all about spending money. Like
of
if you're
course.
gonna, because there's no like financial fair play.
Speaking of Wrexham,
Yeah, exactly. So that's what they're basically doing. They're buying their
yeah,
way up the
yeah.
next
I'll
tiers
drink.
because they're. I'll drink with you because I'm drinking today too. So
Don't eat my headphones, man. Come on.
so bottom line is Sheffield United winning 1-0, 1-0 as you would say,
Yep.
and cat
Don't
ass
show ass
also.
on the TV, man. We're
Yeah,
live.
this is PG. This is PG
Come on,
Tommy.
man. Act like
Um,
you've been here before. So I'm sorry. They held on.
No, they were up 1-0,
Oh,
and so in soccer the clock never stops running.
right.
And when there's fouls or guys are diving or someone gets hurt, they just add on time at the end of the
Yeah,
half. And there was 12 minutes of stoppage time, which is an
that's a ton.
abnormally
Yeah,
like normally it's between 2 and 5 minutes is like a
it's a
normal
ton.
amount of stoppage time at each half.
Yeah,
There
12
was
is like
12. I honestly can't remember the last time there was 12
no.
minutes. I
I've
didn't
never
see the
seen
whole
double
game,
digits.
so maybe someone got hurt, and that's usually the case, or a big VAR. So Sheffield United's up 1-0 in stoppage time, and with at the 98th minute, Tottenham scored, and at the 100th minute, Tottenham scored and fucking won 2-1. And
Mm.
the announcer said it best. He was like, "Sports. It's like it's why you watch it. Giveth and it taketh, right?"
Yeah.
It just seems like on this fucking pod, Doug, that it's been being taken away quite often lately.
Yeah.
So
It's
I will
I
drink
mean, yeah,
to that sadness.
it's our lot, I guess, unless we're going to quit being fans of these teams.
I think my mental health would appreciate that. My wife would
Mhm.
probably. I don't actually. My wife likes that I'm a sports fan. She just hates that I'm like live and die with it so much. But
Yeah,
what other sports fan can you be? You know, I but
get
I
real
can't.
PGA and LIV. No.
Oh yeah, I can't watch golf on TV. That is just something I've never been able to do.
Well, we've talked about this F1. I was watching qualifying this morning. It was quite the crash. Lance Stroll, hope you're all right, buddy. Right into the wall.
Yikes! I
Yeah.
started watching the show for your recommendation. It is captivating, I will say. But I'm so entrenched in so many other shows right
Oh
now that
yeah,
it's like it's at the bottom of the list. Winning Time, God, Doug, I hope you watch
I
Winning
know.
Time because if you don't
I
watch Winning
I've
Time,
had some false starts with this new season, but I love Winning Time, and
this
actually
new
that's
season
I finally have a quiet
better.
weekend. That's a really good idea. I got to catch up this weekend.
This new season is better than last season, in my opinion. They just like took it up a notch, and it's
That's
really
intriguing.
started. They're fat. I don't think they're made third season, but they're really well. There probably should be
Yeah,
because
like they're already like they fast forwarded to 84 in like the first 10 minutes.
they did
Um,
literally the one
so they're jumping
season,
around.
season one.
Right.
This season they're already like through like three different seasons, and
That's
like,
wild.
but it's just like,
I
dude,
figured they were in season a year. Try to stretch it.
the story is fucking crazy, dude. I almost want to read the Jeff Pearlman book because he also didn't he write a Mets book too?
Of
Didn't he write the
course.
book about the '86 Mets? Yeah, right.
Oh yeah, the bad guys won.
Yeah.
Very good
So
book.
so he wrote this show is based off of his book,
Yeah.
and
Perlman does a good job with the investigative stuff for
yeah,
sure.
and like the
Um,
behind let's all the stuff he
and
found
the
out about the
like oral
'86
histories.
Mets,
Yeah.
like the fights and the fucking stuff happening behind the scenes
and
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 getting
and
shit faced.
that was like really early internet, like that was before social media when that book came out. That book was a big deal.
Book
I
was
remember
still a
buying it
great
and
read,
giving it to you and being like, yo, check
dude.
this
And
out.
then I gave it to Rosen, and
Yeah.
it was one of the like I'm not a avid reader. I do read a lot, but I don't enjoy. It's like it puts me to sleep when reading a book, so I have to. It takes me like 2 months to finish a book. That book I think I finished in like 10 days because I
Okay.
couldn't put it down. It was just like I was so captivated and interested in everything that was going on in that book. And it was, I mean, dude, we were. I'm glad we were 8, 7 when that all went down. Or you were 8, I was
Well, I'm
7.
glad there's no social media. You know, it's just things just like guys showed up hungover, no one really noticed. It's wild.
I mean, they just didn't,
But
maybe
like the
John.
reporters didn't notice, like the guys on TV. There weren't any hard questions, right?
Well,
Right.
Ralph
Just
Kiner was as probably out
yeah,
drinking than
that's a good point.
them. So, but Davy Johnson does not get enough credit for being one of the best managers ever. I mean, the
Just
personalities managed to get through that '86 season.
the ability to keep that team together. I mean, they of course self-destructed later in the decade, but that was bound to happen
Well,
considering who was
that was Frank.
involved. And
He
Cashin, Harrison, and McIlvain, a three-headed monster.
they wanted to. I mean, they drafted a bunch of bad boys. Like
Yeah.
I worked for. I don't know if I've ever told this story, but I worked for the Lynchburg Hillcats in 2001.
Oh yeah, they used to
They
be
were
the
the
Mets.
they were the high A ball team for the Pittsburgh Pirates. But the
In the '80s, they were the
hierarchy,
Mets, right?
so the hierarchy was the one GM, his name was Paul, I can't remember his last name, and then the assistant GM, his name was Ronnie. And they had been there. So this was 2001, early '80s. They were the Mets, the Lynchburg Mets,
Right.
and both of them were there when Dykstra, Strawberry, Gooden
Mitchell.
all came through
Yeah.
there, and they all said Lenny Dykstra was the fucking craziest guy they've ever dealt with. He would get shit faced after every game
Yeah.
and drive his car and
Hmm.
just be a fucking maniac doing donuts. And you don't know the stadium. It was called City Stadium, and it was just this old dilapidated stadium with a huge parking lot out in the back. And like when it was empty, you could do stupid shit in the parking lot. And apparently he was
Oh
just try.
yeah.
I guess he
Oh,
had a Porsche back in A ball and doing donuts and being
did
an
he really
idiot.
have that kind of cash back then? That's wild. I do
I
know
don't.
that he was the guy who would like lead the cash game in the back of the bus whenever they traveled, right? Like he couldn't calm down,
No, dude, he was.
right?
I mean, he was probably. They were probably all doing cocaine
Yeah.
on the Lynchburg Mets in 1982 or three or whatever. But so Cashin, I'm sure knew what was coming down the pike, right?
And
But
that's why he traded Mitchell. That's the accepted theory that they wanted to get Mitchell away from Doc. So
yep.
like he started tinkering too much with the McReynolds trade, even though McReynolds was good.
But
Um,
McReynolds hated New York. He was such a
hated New
bad
York,
fit.
and Mitchell turned into an MVP.
Right.
But he had his own problems, obviously.
Oh,
I hope he's
definitely.
doing.
But there was no
I really,
reason.
yeah.
There's no reason to trade him.
I really
You
hope
know.
he didn't stab Joy Gooden's cat like the rumor is. I really
Oh,
hope
I don't
that's
know
not
anything
true.
about that.
We can't we can't be stabbing cats, people.
No, no cat stabbing. This is a
Please,
non-cat
come
stabbing
on.
show.
Yeah, no,
Even
no,
though,
like plane of existence. Hopefully, no one's stabbing cats out there.
yeah, I don't support cat stabbing. I don't like cats, but even I don't. I don't want to stab
You
cats.
don't want to stab cats, man. Like
No,
what?
no.
Anyway, crack cocaine.
Crack, dude. I had someone literally try. I don't know who I was talking to the other day, but someone literally tried to explain to me how crack is not really that bad. A, it's just a smoked rock form of cocaine, and that the Reagans made it their target number one, and that's why it became so bad. And I'm like, I don't know if I agree with that statement, but
But I'm going to keep listening to you, Joe Rogan.
yeah,
No,
it wasn't Joe Rogan. I cannot remember who it was for the life of me, but that was one of those conversations where I was like,
that's wild.
yeah,
It's crack's not that
I,
bad. That's wild.
yeah, de-
You hear that, kids?
definitely,
Crack. It's not that whack.
I definitely am thinking slightly less of you. I don't know whoever that I had that conversation with. Hopefully, you don't listen to the show and remember it was you. But yeah, dude, it's like okay, okie dokie, yeah.
Oh,
Oh man, but so let's start off on a high note. We've already gone into this Mets history. Doug, I
yeah,
predicted it. It's been predicted.
yeah,
Not that I
man.
predicted it. I read all the stuff everyone else is reading and believing, and I believed it because it makes
I'll
sense.
give it to you though. You called it like a year and a half ago. It seems like so.
Thank you, and
Yeah.
it makes sense. And so Steve Cohen finally got his man this week. David Stearns has been named the president of baseball operations, effective end of season. Effective end of season. Um, Billy Epler is going to stay on and work underneath him, and I think that we have a great hierarchy now. I think everybody has applauded this move. Everyone saw it
Yep.
coming after once he took a leave of absence. He worked for the Mets as an intern, and Jeff Wilpon famously was too cheap to hire him, as we've talked about on the show before. So he left and then became basically what it's referred to as Andrew Friedman is the president of the Dodgers, the president of the either Stearns is 38. I don't know how old Freeman is. Maybe he's 40,
At this point,
41.
Friedman's probably in his 40s.
Yeah,
I'd
he's probably
guess.
like 40, early 40s,
Right.
and they are considered, as far as president of operations, baseball operations go, the 1A and 1B of uh, available. They took the torch from Theo Epstein, right?
Yeah,
Because
like the
Theo
shines off Theo, the shines off. What's his name? The guy who
Keim
just got
Bloom,
fired. Keim. Yeah,
he
and
stepped down.
mhm.
He'll end up
So
going
yeah.
back to like the Devil Rays or something. The
No,
Rays.
I mean absolutely. This isn't a guaranteed slam dunk, but this dude is gonna make some changes. It's gonna be exciting. It really
It's
is. So
I'm I am super pumped, Doug, about
yeah,
this move. I'm
yeah.
super pumped. I
I
think
and by the way, there's no way they're not going for it next year. They're gonna try to build
all
a really
all
good team
all,
right away.
all stupid meat.
Yeah,
What you should know about the media in general now, and specifically the New York media, is they got to write stories. They got
yeah.
jobs to do, and when the Mets are fucking in like the bottom third of the MLB standings with a $320 million payroll, there's not a lot to write about, right? So you start writing about Pete Alonso being traded. You start writing
Yeah.
about we're not going for next year, which I believe Epler, that was his that's what his pitch to the media was, to make all of it make sense, to get Verlander and Scherzer out of town,
Get them out the
which
door. Right.
by the way was
Max
fucking
is done, right?
genius. Max is done for the year,
Max is
and
done.
he was going to be done for the year no matter what, with us or with them. He's at that age where he's starting
Oh
to
yeah.
fall apart. His It's the same issue that Verlander had in spring training that kept him out
And
before the start of the
honestly,
year.
oh yeah, and that's a great call by the way. And honestly, like God, it's easy to Monday morning quarterback, but 9 months ago we were pretty pumped for those two guys leading the way.
We were hoping that we were going to get one more great season, and Verlander's pitched well since
Yeah,
he basically did spring month of June, and he got batted around a little bit, but since that point to the
He's been
last 7
fine.
games before we traded him, he was doing
Yeah.
Justin Verlander things. We just can't
He wasn't
fucking
lights out
score.
like last year though.
He had a couple of 5 inning games where he threw a lot of pitches, but he gave
Yeah.
up 1 run. But he had a couple of 6 and 7 inning. I think he even had an 8 inning game in there as well. But we hardly knew you, Justin, and you brought us back Drew Gilbert and Ryan Clifford.
Yeah. Getting an Acuna for Max.
Yep, that's looking like a
Even if you got to
fucking.
pay all the money, it's who gives a shit, right? So
I mean, it's not my money. You
and
were
there's
the
no cap.
you were the first person to make me realize that, and that's another media driven narrative, right? Like, hey, well, I don't think he's worth the money, and you've always been like, I don't give a shit. It's not my money. Just fucking
It's the New York Mets.
right. Go fucking pay to get rid
Right.
of these guys, pay to bring in guys, blah 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 blah. Pay the most to bring in Shohei Ohtani, who by the way cleared his locker out yesterday because he's not playing for the Angels for the rest of the year
Yeah.
because he's tired of the ridiculousness that is their franchise. Right? You got Anthony Rendon, who's like played like 7 games in 3 years, and now all of a sudden has a broken leg that no one reported. Um,
What a
Trout came
mess.
back from the DL and played 1 game and got hurt again. They traded every stitch of prospects that they had to go for it, which I am 100% sure was Arte Moreau's edict because it
Yeah.
made zero sense. Like, fuck it, we're not trading Ohtani for it. And then Ohtani tears his UCL, needs time to pitch. Well, and now he's fucking not even going to play for them for the rest of the year. So
Imagine what they could have Yeah.
I'm going to pause and I'm going to predict right here, right now. And it's not a crazy prediction, but the Mets will sign Shohei Ohtani in the offseason. He will be our DH next year. It'll be kind of similar to the Kevin Durant year, where, we signed him for 4 years in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
He
Wow.
didn't play at all the first year, and then he came
Right.
back the next 3 years and then
That turned out
destroyed
well.
that team. Destroyed the team. Yeah, no. Well, hopefully a different outcome happens.
No,
But
honestly, like let's go nuts. How about he's from Jersey? Mets find a way to get Trout here. That would be a
I
Mets
mean, the
kind of
Angels came
acquisition.
out and said the Angels came out and said that they would entertain offers for him.
Yeah.
Here's my only question though. Like, he's been injured all year. This year, I'm pretty
Both of
sure he
these
was
guys.
injured all year last year.
Yeah, Trout gets hurt
So
a lot.
I don't care about if Ohtani, if I can buy him for 50 million a year and he can come in and hit 40 runs and play DH and let Pete play first, and you got two 45 run guys, 100 RBI guys as your 4-5 or 3-4 hitters, pay him because it doesn't cost anything
Are
except for
you
maybe
paying
my.
him to eventually pitch?
Yeah, obviously, if he's going to get the Tommy John surgery in the
Okay.
offseason and then come back and just DH next year, which he can do with all recovering from Tommy John,
Yeah,
we
no, I
can
was just
act
making sure you weren't making him a full-time hitter.
no DH 2024 pitch and DH every year after that as long as it's possible.
I like it.
Make sense?
I like
I
it.
don't
I
care
don't
what
know
I
if
don't
he's
care
coming
what
east, but
I don't see why not.
okay.
We're gonna pay him more money than anyone else. So I don't see why if it's all about the money, which most of the time it is, then why are you not going to take 50 million? And he already said through his agent he's not opposed to going anywhere, and he'll,
Well, he's
if
got
he
to
wants
sign.
to, if he want, well, what he said was if he wants to be somewhere, he'll give that place the opportunity to match the highest offer to go there.
That's honest and hell of a splash for David Stearns. So
Right.
from your
With
lips to God's,
Epler,
let's
who
do it.
brought him over.
Uh-oh. Did I lose you? I can't hear you. Yeah. Yeah, Mike's out. That's oh God, that's an interesting point though. Like they're gonna throw money at him. Do we believe Otani's coming here to the Mets? Angels East? Maybe it's a new era. The Mets should be involved though. They should be in that conversation. I still cannot hear you. Fuck. Can you hear me? Just use your computer speaks. Computer mic.
Yeah.
We haven't even talked about football, but I guess, hey, there you are. Anyway, I mean, if we're gonna get Otani, are we sure we need him with DJ Stewart,
Can you hear
proven
me now?
proven himself to be an all-star level player? Yes, we can hear you. Welcome back. We're
Jesus Christ.
we're
Technical
talking about,
difficulties.
we thought it through a little more, and now you missed the part where we kind of talked it through, and the emergence of DJ Stewart makes it a little extraneous. So yeah, I think we're just going to stick Stewart in the DH slash left field for the next decade. Your thoughts?
I think DJ I think DJ Stewart's a guy that could be our fourth outfielder next
Yeah,
year,
he's
and at a cheap rate. He can play both corner outfield positions. I'm sure he can probably, I don't know if he can play first base, but he looks like he can play first base. No offense, DJ Stewart.
you know
You're
where
a
he looks
little
good, like right behind Pete. And I know this is extended garbage time, but Vogie wasn't cutting it behind Pete.
No, he stinks. I'm done with him. Like, stop letting that guy play.
Don't let him bat fifth anymore, please, Buck.
Just
Anyway,
don't let him play. Like, there's
yeah,
no reason why Mark Vientos shouldn't be taking every
yeah.
single uh, DH for the rest of the year. Just dumb. It's just stubborn Buck. So let's talk about that. They're talking about Buck. Do we think he's do you think he's surviving this off season?
I honestly have no idea, and that said, I haven't really looked into like any reports. I don't know if there are any reports either way, but my position on it right now is if they bring him back, I don't think I'm going to be upset. It means he's bought into whatever they're doing. If they don't bring him back, it's not going to surprise me at all. Yeah, this is New York City. He's a little older. You have new leadership coming in. This happens all the time. Managers come and go. We've had a ton. So I like Buck, and if they do bring him back, I don't mind that kind of vote of confidence. He'll be on the hot seat, but I think that's his last contract year anyway, right? I think he has one more
Yeah,
year.
so he's
So
going into his third year of his 3-year contract. He's done well with younger teams historically. He's gotten more out of less. I don't know if they're going to have less or not. I think there's been a big push from the analytics department this year to do certain things, and I
yeah,
think Buck is kind of just a fucking figurehead this year.
I
And I
think he's
don't,
just going with it, but yeah,
yeah, and I don't think I don't know how Stearns is going to um, look at that, and I think it's going to be Stearns' show. So I don't think there's I'm 50-50 on it, but I think if he does come back, he's going to want another year on his contract, right? Because
yeah,
he doesn't want to be a lame
probably.
duck manager.
But you said Craig Counsell's also a free agent, right?
Well,
So
he hasn't re-signed in Milwaukee, and I think
right,
let's just talk about Milwaukee for a second. Stearns went up there in like 18 as the GM, and like they were literally the year he went up there. I want to say they were like the bottom 5 in payroll, and they have his record is like it's almost like a 560, 570 like winning percentage
the
over
man can
his
build a bullpen.
five
Jesus,
years.
those
He
got those
also
arms out there.
He also built a pitching staff out of like
Yeah, he
I didn't
did.
even know who the fuck
Corbin
Corbin Burns
Burns, right?
was until he won the Cy Young. This guy Freddie Peralta was a guy they got
Mm-hmm.
as a I don't want to say he was a throw-in, but he was the guy they took for Adam Lind. I want to say back in the day when
Jeez.
they made a trade, like they traded him away. And
Yeah.
so I do think that Stern, if they are looking to rebuild, he will look at offloading Marte. I don't think he can move Nimmo, and I don't think he's going to want to move Nimmo.
I wouldn't move
Um,
Nimmo.
no, and I don't think we're moving Pete, man. I just don't fucking see it. But we'll see.
I honestly hope not. That just seemed like speaking of the Brewers, they were just mad that Stearns was breaking up with them. For us, that's it's kind of accepted that that was planted by them, right?
Right. But I mean, the New York media ran with it, right?
Of
So,
course. Yeah.
right. So,
It sucks because I just never got the impression that Pete's a bad dude, and I'm not going to name whoever questioned his leadership or whatever. But yeah, just New York media. You're right.
right. Clicks, 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 clicks.
Yeah.
Lame. All right. So we got Stearns. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Maybe Council, maybe Showalter. I don't think there's any in between there. I don't think there's going to be, if it's not Council, it'll be Showalter or vice versa. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think I think I think the fact that Craig Counsell, who's won Manager of the Year, taken this team to the playoffs 4 years in a row, is has not signed a long term extension because I'm sure that he could have. I'm sure he's been offered one. The fact that he hasn't signed one is kind of telling to me that he's probably going
Yeah.
wherever Stearns goes. But he is a Wisconsin native, right? So
No, is he?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what. I mean, David Stearns went home to New York, right? So does Council want to leave his home? But I mean, it's September. Craig Council, a guy who could, you know, 30 of 30 teams without a
Yeah.
problem from any ownership, could go wherever he wants, hasn't signed an extension, and I'm sure it's been offered. So to me, that's kind of telling.
And
So we'll see
speaking of
what
money,
happens with that.
the Mets can pay a manager, obviously.
I mean, we
That's
can do
easy.
it. We can do whatever the fuck we
Yeah,
want, which it's finally
that's no
nice.
problem. And we can
No
pay a
problem.
manager not to manage. So
Right.
yeah, Buck. If
Just
that's the
like
case, Buck, vaya con Dios. But
right. Either way, I think Buck had a
yeah,
glorious year last year. Again, we didn't go for it at the trade deadline. I don't know what difference it would have made, but it couldn't have been any worse than the outcome that happened for right.
right.
And this year has just been an unmitigated disaster.
And you know
It
what, David
is.
Stearns, evaluate Billy Epler. He deserves to be a for this year. If he survives, he survives. But Billy has some things to answer for, and he did a hell of a great job at the deadline. But
He also,
it's not been a fun year.
it's not been a fun year. I think injuries have really
Injuries, obviously, right?
derailed our season more than people want to give credit for. I think not having as good of a backup plan is probably
Yeah, just the
something I would
staff
be upset about.
construction. Wow,
But
and the bullpen.
Kodai Senga could win Rookie of the Year,
By the way,
and
yeah, we haven't given him a shout out in forever. He is pitching really well and looks like an ace.
looks like an ace.
We
And
didn't predict that.
Francisco Alvarez also is going to get for Rookie of the Year,
Mm,
and
yeah, he stopped hitting, but yes, he will.
the whole team stopped hitting. But he's got
Hmm.
23 home runs, and he's a plus almost a +2 WAR. Garbage team as a rookie, and he's also in the top 5 percentile of pitch framing, which was his biggest issue, right? So,
Yeah, love that pitch framing. And by
I
the
mean,
way,
these are things
I,
they look at, right?
I
So,
know. And by the way, Ronnie Mauricio is fun to watch. Dude is just a freak, a specimen. I don't know if he can like lay off the sliders in the dirt, but he's got that. He's not going to be Vlad, but he's got that thing where he'll just swing at anything and rock anything if he makes contact. Um, he's an
he
interesting dude.
has he has the highest exit velocity of any Mets
Yeah,
player this
yeah.
year, and he's only
When
played
he
like a
makes
week.
contact, it's
Yeah, I mean, he just reminds me. It's not just me; it's other people. Alfonso Soriano.
yeah, it's
He
Soriano.
looks like him.
Yeah,
He's taller than him, but he looks like him. He swings like him.
he can steal a base.
He can steal a base. He's probably going to end up being our second baseman next year, and I'm
That's
here for it,
exciting.
man.
Yeah,
It is exciting.
he's gonna
Let the
strike out a
kid
million times, but whatever. Like,
let the kids fucking
dude's
play. I mean,
electric.
at least for the rest of this year, there's
Yeah.
no reason why Maurizio shouldn't be at second, Beatty shouldn't be at third, Alvarez shouldn't be at catcher,
Well, we'll see.
and Vientos
Stearns
shouldn't
coming
be the
in.
DH.
It would not surprise me that they start making some trades to bring in people.
I
They
mean, if you're
actually have
talking Mike
prospects now,
Trout, if you're talking about Mike Trout, some of those guys are going to have to be
right?
on the way out. And if you bring
I
Trout in,
wasn't specifically, by the way. I'm not sure how I feel about Trout considering the injuries, but like a big name. I don't know who that would be, honestly, but I would
I
expect
don't
that
know
from the
either.
Mets.
I don't. I've stopped paying attention to baseball too
Yeah,
much
I've
from
I've
a
kind of
like
tuned
day to
it out.
day basis. I
Yeah,
can't.
we'll get back there. And
We
by the
will.
way, we've gone half an hour without even mentioning last Sunday. We're doing a good job.
We are. So
Right.
let's get into
I
it.
just broke it, but
Let's get into it. So
uh,
let's talk. You want to talk about your
I don't
guys
know.
first, or
No,
you
I
want to talk
mean,
about my guys?
you're arguably the bigger story. Let's say what you need to about Aaron. I'm sorry, man.
Let me refill my glass, Dylan.
I'll just say that yeah, that was a top two Giants kicking, obviously, and right after we had that nice and peppy show last Sunday morning. Maybe one of the worst weekends of football I've personally experienced in the NFL, I think.
Agreed.
And I'm bummed about the Rodgers thing, just because like that's it. Like we're not going to be able to like milk this. Like it would have been whatever would have happened would have been entertaining, I'd imagine. So fuck, man. Sorry. Yeah, the floor is
Yeah.
yours.
Yeah, man. So point Sunday happens. Fantasy football, which we'll get to at the end of the show. Fantasy football happens. I do very well in fantasy football. Riding a high because the
I'll
Thursday night
drink.
games. Thursday night games I don't care about. I cared about, but I didn't overtly care about it.
Hey, DeAndre Swift, baby.
Oh,
Woo!
that was last Thursday, but thank God I wasn't playing you this week.
Right.
But
Of course, typical.
it's the way the cookie
He
crumbles.
had 1 point against you, 40 against Josh.
That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear. So
Anyway,
we're hanging out on Sunday watching the games. Cool. I'm just like
yeah,
getting to watch. I went um, Dave and Buster's over
yep.
here in Orange, California,
Got all the
and they
games.
had every game on a huge screen, which was nice. Their food is still suspect, but they have drinks, and that's all that matters. So watching all 11 games at once and just like picking which one, and then the only thing that sucked about that was watching J.K. Dobbins tear his Achilles, and
Thank
as soon
God.
as it happened,
Yeah, thank God
what's
they
that?
threw a wrench at you at least like there. Like it wasn't a
Yes,
perfect day. But
yes.
yeah,
So
dude, I was
so
getting speed
Dobbins.
bagged like immediately. Like at 1:15, I'm like, can we let's go to the nature walk, Jenny? Like it was just
Please,
a miserable day. There was nothing to watch. I was trying to watch the Bengals and Browns because I was excited. You know, Jamar
that game
Chase,
was
Joe Mixon, T.
fucking
Higgins.
poop.
It was it was I had no idea what was coming later in the night, but I'm just like, oh, so this is miserable. And like I never even got into it. Like the
Right,
whole Sunday fun day thing. Nope.
dude. I had
I
T
watched Killer
Higgins.
Joe. I wasn't kidding. I put on a movie.
I had so in my work league, and so we do a work league, and we put 12 experienced fantasy managers with 12 newbies trying to learn about
Yeah.
fantasy. So um, I was playing one of my operations managers. Her name is Jamie, and we were going head to head, and I was not expected to win, and I had T Higgins, and
Know about
so
that?
I put up a donut with T Higgins,
Right.
and I'm in the 1 o'clock games. I had more players going. I'm putting it to her, but I still had T Higgins, and it was like that fucking little elephant
Yeah.
in the room. And
Right.
then the 4 o'clock games come, and she just starts like she blows past me. I've got like a fucking 3% chance to win. I have one person left to go. Do you know
Oh
who I
no.
had left?
Oh
This
no.
is actually a great segue.
What
I had the
is it like
da-
the Dallas defense?
I had the Dallas defense.
Oh,
The
God.
Dallas defense put up 37 points. That's not true. I also had Garrett Wilson. The Dallas defense put up 37 points. I blow past her on Sunday
I'm
night,
surprised that didn't happen to me in our league that you did that. But yeah, that's
and I win, which was
dude.
great.
And hey, look, they are a damn good defense. They can obviously get after the quarterback. My goodness,
You guys just
they're
so let's talk.
relentless.
Let's talk about the Giants, dude. Let's talk about the Giants. This is a good segue. 37 points, shut out on opening night at home. Granted, it was
40,
torrential
wasn't it?
downpour.
Wasn't it 40-0?
40-0. Sorry, I'm quoting my score. 40-0 on opening night. It was like literally the fifth worst fucking shutout in the history of football.
On
Like
national TV.
on national TV, Daniel Jones looks lost. Saquon couldn't get going. I mean, I think there was some stat like no team has ever given up like a kick return or a punt return, an interception return, a fumble return, whatever the fuck happened
Blocked
in this
field
game,
goal
blocked field goal, like all the things that
for a
happened to the
touchdown.
Giants has never happened to one team ever in a season.
Yeah,
And it all happened to the Giants in one game. So,
it's you think you've just never seen. You think you've seen everything, right?
right.
And I mean, going into this, we're like, this is a huge game. The Giants have to prove they're better or on the level of Dallas. Um, God, yeah, it was 5 minutes of actually moving the ball, and then just a phantasmagoria, a nightmare, a walk through the worst horrors if you're a football fan. I feel bad. I know people who went to the game, and can you imagine like driving down there from Connecticut on a Sunday night, having to go to work the next, and
No, I
just
would I
like
would
getting back on the highway at like 11:30 after
midnight.
after you sat in the parking lot for an hour and a half because you left in the second quarter, but you're still there, and all you can do is just listen to the game on the radio. Anyway, yeah, what do you say? Burn the tape.
Yeah, I think, dude.
You
Week
kind of do
one,
actually.
week one
I've
is
come down.
It's bullshit, dude.
It
Like
is.
everyone was like the Giant. I mean, it was funny just because of my friends who are Giants
It
fans.
was just
That was
ridiculous.
amusing,
Yeah.
right? It was just one of those games, dude, where you got your dicks kicked in,
All the only
and
thing missing was like a fumble worthy like gif that could be shoved in our faces for eternity. That's like the only thing that
uh,
was missing.
I see what you did
Maybe there
there.
is one.
I
Yep.
see what you did there.
Oh no, no,
But
you
that's
stand this pain. You've been through this on a national stage
yes, like, dude, we haven't. I
a lot.
I want to put something into perspective for you. I've lived in California for almost a decade. I've been here for 9 years and like 9 months. The Jets have literally never made the playoffs since I've been a California resident. Never once.
So wait,
Not
you were
once.
still out here for butt fumble. I think that was 12, right? 2012.
I was there for the butt
Where
fumble.
do you remember where you were that night? It was I think it was the
I'm
was it
sure I was on my
Thanksgiving?
couch. I'm sure I was on my couch. That may have been when I fired the remote through my drywall.
I
uh,
want to say that game was Thanksgiving or like it was a big national like holiday game because we had people over at my parents' house. I remember that.
it was
Anyway,
something. It was
yeah, it
terrible.
was
I think it was
so
playoffs. No,
yeah,
no, it was a Monday night game. It was something.
no,
I
yeah,
don't
it
know.
was like, but it was obviously late in the season, and you guys were fired up, and
And it was
not after
obviously
that.
against the Patriots, who fucking have just but something else to us for the last decade more
So
or
anyway,
more.
like back to the Giants.
Burn the tape, man.
Right,
You
right.
guys, go ahead.
I was gonna say all week I was thinking about doing the show, and I'm just like, give me a fuck game. I need to see the other. I need to see the other side. Beat up this stupid team in Arizona 40-7 or something. I've kind of come back from that. I kind of just need them to have a nice methodical like 23-10 win though. I'd like to see the defense get their shit together, and I'd like to see obviously the offensive line their shit together. I actually don't know if Andrew Thomas is going to play.
What
Um,
happened to him?
he tweaked his groin or hamstring on that fucking field goal return.
Uh,
So if he's out, no bueno. And it could be a long. I
who's
mean,
your swing tackle?
yeah. So we're gonna have to like first of all, Mark Lewinsky, the other or the right side tackle. Let's start with the right side. Neil and Glowinski got absolutely just abused. And I guess Dallas has just these crazy schemes where guys like just come in and out, and it's like just a constant barrage. But I mean, they looked like sub replacement players, both of them. Thomas is out, so that would mean, oh, and of course, like the rookie center, of course, chuck the snap over somebody's head, like that was bound to happen, right?
Right.
And that's when the floodgates opened, actually. Um, so yeah, so you got the rookie center, you got the right side that's made of paper mache, Bredesen, whatever, left tackle, and then if Thomas is out, I think you have to rotate in, I guess Josh Azudu somewhere. Um, I don't know.
Bredesen,
It's
dude. Bredesen was a practice squad player for the
yeah,
Jets years ago.
yeah, no,
I mean, you
he's
work
worked his
hard.
ass off. Yeah,
Yeah, yes.
but
So
you're right.
not taking away, but like that scares me.
Yeah, and like I mean, other than that, I don't know. McKeithen's barely played in his career. It's just I think I'm
What about
forgetting
did you cut Matt
somebody.
Pert?
Oh, I'm sorry. Pert's around too, but he's banged up too.
He
So yeah,
fucking stinks though.
yeah,
Like
and
in the
so
game that we
Pert,
played in the preseason,
yeah,
that guy was a
he's never
turnstile.
been good. In fact, I'm
I
surprised
wanted
he's
him to
still
be
on the
good.
roster.
I wanted him to be good so bad. Didn't he go
Uh-huh.
to UConn? Right? He's a
Yeah,
Connecticut boy.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I just it seems like he's been here for like 5 or 6 years and
I think it's
just
only
can't
two.
Yeah, I know, right? Um, it's just like he. I thought he was a Gettleman pick though. Either way, it's bleak. I don't know. I'm gonna watch obviously, and
But so you're playing the worst team in the league, even
right.
though you're in Arizona. They did hold their own against
They didn't
Washington,
look
but I
terrible. They did
but I
not look
think
like the
that's
worst league Giants did.
but I
So
think that's more that Washington isn't as good as
right, Sam Hell is
they
suspect. Yeah,
yeah, like Sam Howell. I was reading a stat about him the other day, and the big knock on him was his sack rate in college was really bad, and at some point, even if you have a shitty offensive line,
yeah.
you got to get rid of the ball, right? You got to know you got to get rid of the ball. Your line's going to only give you a certain amount of time, right?
Was he
So
UNC? Where'd he go?
UNC,
Yeah,
Sam Howell went to UNC, and if we talked about this last week, he came out 2 years ago, and going into that year, he was expected to be the Heisman winner and the number one pick overall, and then he just had a fucking
yeah.
terrible year, or it might have been 2 years. Maybe his junior year he was going to be
He
the
faded though. Yeah, I
Heisman.
remember
He
he was.
faded really bad, whether it
Yeah,
was a year or a year, 2 years,
it might have been 2 years.
but
Yeah,
he
stock drop.
so kind of like that. So he's got the ability and the talent, right? But that's the one knock against him, or one of the knocks against him is that he holds on to the ball too long, and he tries to play hero ball, which
Right,
I'm sure it's a hard thing to shake because these guys
right. Because
coming
he's
up when they're
confident. Yeah,
yeah, when you're coming up, you're playing,
you're
you're making the
dominating high
fucking
school.
play because you're
Yeah,
dominating high school. You're fucking. I mean, he didn't dominate college, but he played very well on a
right.
UNC team that I don't think was very good for the most part.
They're usually not in the league itself is all right, but
Right.
I
So
so they got to him 6 times, Arizona.
yeah.
Um,
So I don't know, man. So think. I do want to point this out. Cousin Dave
uh
flew to Arizona to go watch the Giants play the Cardinals. He's actually there right now.
What a diehard. Respect,
Respect
Dave.
cousin Dave, but also
Um,
you're kind of a bit crazy. Similar to like when I would fly around the country and watch the Jets over the last decade. It was more to see new
um,
cities.
I mean, is he going with anybody? Like that'd be
Yeah, he's
fun.
got a group of buddies, and
Yeah,
yes, exactly. It's gonna
that
be
shit's
fun.
all right. Like, I wouldn't drag Jenny around to see the Giants, though. I don't think
You if
that's
well, like we've done it, dude. We've flown
yeah.
to Nashville to see the Islanders, and what else have we done? Is that the only one we've ever
I've
done?
seen hockey with you in like what Anaheim. I've seen baseball with you in Baltimore.
Yeah, I mean, we've
Other
traveled to go see our
places.
teams.
Yeah,
Yeah, have we been to Philly together to watch a Mets Phillies game?
I've never had the urge to be amongst the Philly fans. I
I
have you ever been there?
yeah,
I've
I've been
never
there a
missed
few
it.
times. I've been there a few times.
I
One
would
of my
never go
good,
to an Eagles game. I don't need that in my life.
no, you
Just
specifically, me.
yeah.
I went to the link for the Chelsea game a couple months
Oh, I've
ago.
been to the link.
It's a
I've just never go
shithole.
to an Eagles. Yeah,
It is a
it's
shithole
nothing
for
special.
a fucking newer stadium.
Mhm.
Disappointing, very disappointing.
Just all
Um,
concrete. Yeah,
it's just all concrete. But for I've been to whatever it's called. It used to be Citizens Bank Ballpark. I don't know what it's called
yeah.
anymore. But I've been to a few games. One of my buddies is from Philly. One of my good college buddies, and he's
Right.
a diehard for everything. And we've been to a few games together. Uh, uh,
With like the full Mets gear, or did you go DL?
no,
Yeah, right.
I may have worn my hat, but I was pretty incognito. I I'm not trying to get
You don't want
my
to get
ass
barfed
whooped.
on.
No, I don't want
Yeah,
to get puked on. But I will say the one nice thing about the Phillies ballpark is they have a Chicky and Pete's. And
yeah.
if you've never had Chicky and Pete's, that's one thing
Have it.
Philadelphia, you've done it right.
Yeah.
It's French fries with like a crab cheese mixture.
Mm.
It's not good for your arteries or your butthole,
I get
but it
their
is
cheesesteaks, obviously, but yeah. Oh,
delicious.
it's insane.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
there's one in the airport which I'm a little scared of, but I'll still go to if I have to
I
get out of the
actually,
airport.
with my
So
ex-wife, we had to fly to Philadelphia to go on vacation at one point in time. I think because we didn't want to go to JFK, we flew out of MacArthur when we lived on Long Island. hub was fly from MacArthur to Philadelphia. It was like
Yeah,
a
makes
30
sense.
minute flight on a
I think
fucking
I've done Westchester to Philly for something. Yeah.
prop plane.
Yep.
I don't even know if prop planes exist anymore. And we wherever the worst airport in America is, Philadelphia Airport. If you don't agree with me, I challenge you to find a worse airport than Philadelphia. The people
It's
that
top
work
five.
there,
I'm with you.
the people that
It's
work there are the worst.
I
They
mean bottom
hate
five.
their yeah, top five of the worst. They
Yes.
hate their lives. They hate
They hate
everybody
you.
that works.
It's
Yeah, they
Philly,
hate
so
me.
they hate you.
Hate me because I'm asking them to do their job, and they're not nice. And the
Are you the guy
places,
build around the terminal? Have you reached that stage?
no, dude,
Okay.
I'm not that guy. But
I'm
one
kidding.
time I had a layover canceled in Philadelphia coming home, and
Yeah.
I got up to the lady, and I'm some travel. I need to get my ticket rerouted tomorrow morning, whatever. I need my hotel voucher. If you've never had that happen, they give you a hotel voucher and a meal voucher,
Hmm.
and they
Oh,
send you to.
it's a lot of fun. Right.
It's awesome. They send you to like this shitty hotel
Hmm.
on airport grounds
Hmm.
on the shuttle, and you go to this hotel. You get the whatever room they have left, and you
Yeah.
eat at their fucking hotel, which sucks. And so I'm
Yeah.
waiting,
It's where
knowing
they
that
keep.
this is the rest of my life for the evening. Knowing this already, I'm kind of down in the dumps because I just want to get home. And I
Right.
get up to the lady and she goes, "What do you want? What do you want?" And I'm like, "Hey,
What do
sir,
you think?
how can I help you? What do you want?" All right, I
You
don't
might have
know.
heard
Just
my flight got canceled.
yes, I'm
Th-
clearly standing in this line because I need
which everyone
your
was.
help. It was at
Everyone
the
probably had the
time.
same problem, is
It
what I'm
was
saying.
U.S. Airways, I believe, before it went defunct because U.S. Airways was,
Yeah,
or
they
before
got
it got
folded
bought
into
by American.
United or American.
United, I thought it was
Whatever.
American.
Oh yeah,
Whatever.
no, no, you're right. They both suck. All three of those airlines suck.
Every airline in America sucks.
Well, yeah, but some are worse
Yeah,
than others.
American. I've hitched my wagon to, and
Really?
they're not the best, but they fly out of John Wayne. Um,
That's
they
handy.
go. You can get anywhere out of John Wayne on American, and I finally have status, so it helps. But yeah, when I fly Delta, I'm like, why did I choose American? Fuck you, American.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Delta and JetBlue are decent to me. I trust them.
JetBlue. I've heard horror stories about JetBlue.
I've
My
yeah, I've had some delay problems, tarmac problems, but that's about it. I haven't been stranded anywhere. Yeah, United and American have stranded me places.
yes, yes. And not even that, like just the people on like this, like when you get on
Yeah.
Delta, the stewardesses or the people, I don't know, the airplane. I think they're called stewardesses still, right? Is that PC?
No, man,
Doug,
flight attendant, I think.
flight attendant. You're right. All right,
Stewardess, dude, yeah, like that's
that
when we were
died in
still
the
having
'70s,
martinis and fucking Salem's on the
smoking
on the.
cigarettes, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So the flight attendants on Delta are very very nice. The flight attendants on American, if I was like in the aisle choking, they would probably step over me.
Yeah,
So what are you
and
gonna
and
do?
and and the flight attendants on JetBlue, unfortunately, they're comedians, and we gotta listen to the jokes. But
Oh,
hey,
I,
that's
I
okay.
haven't flown JetBlue in forever, so I have no idea. Have you
But
done the mint on JetBlue,
it's the mint. No,
like the
I
lay
guess not.
down, like front first
Uh,
class?
not on JetBlue. No,
No, I haven't either. I have
I've
not
only
flown
done that
JetBlue
like
in a
on
long time,
transatlantic,
which is where it
which is like
makes the
once or
most
twice.
sense.
Yeah,
It makes the most sense. If you're going to fly
yeah,
international, you need to pay for the fucking upgrades
that's
because
when
you're
you
on a
cash
plane
in,
for like a
right?
fucking day
Yeah,
or more, and it
right.
sucks.
And don't get me
It
started on
sucks.
Asia. Yeah,
Oh, I haven't been to Asia, so I don't. I've been, but I have been to. So that flight
that's rough too.
was rough. That flight was rough.
Even from LA, but yeah, when you're coming
From
from New
LA, it
York,
was 15 hours.
hmm
I flew business class, and
got to.
I didn't sit. I only sat next to one person, which was nice. So it was basically class, but I was halfway back the plane. But I got breakfast, lunch, dinner, like everything that comes. I
They'll hook
got
you up.
yeah, free movies. I mean, I drank at least 2 bottles of fucking shitty wine on that flight,
Oh
so
yeah,
it wasn't terrible. It wasn't terrible. It just couldn't. I was sitting like this instead of laying down,
sure.
and
No,
the
I've
breakfast
never
was
laid down on a plane. Someday goals. You want to talk about the Aaron Rodgers and the Jets?
yeah.
Better
Let's get
left
into that.
about that. All right,
I
we'll
was
get into
yeah,
it.
no, we should talk about that.
Speaking
We
of
got
planes,
it was fucking terrible. Doug, I went to happy hour with
what
my
was it?
buddy.
Play 4,
Yeah.
Snap 4. Yeah,
Yeah, 8 months of fucking like similar to David Stearns, I predicted Aaron Rodgers would be a New York Jet. That one I will take a little more credit for because I felt that from the beginning. Favorite player of all time, that's not a New York Jet, comes to the team in a trade eventually happened. Nathaniel Hackett came, he comes, we give up possible first round pick, which is that's the only silver lining in this is that it's not going to be a first
it's
round
not
pick
going to
now.
be a first.
He comes here and he just becomes the culture changing fucking icon because he knows if he takes this team to the promised land, he has forever cemented his legacy. He's better. He's better than Tom Brady. Fuck the Buccaneers. You guys are a bunch of mercenaries that came together under Bruce Arians. The Jets are a young up and coming team. Guy at 39 years old is going into this team. He changes the culture. He's going to take the young quarterback under his wing that hasn't performed well to date. And he's going to take this team to the playoffs for the first time in 12 years, most likely.
Yeah,
We have a top five defense already in place. We have a great coach, and we have some young up and coming people on. We have the offensive rookie of the year. And who would have been the offensive rookie of the year if he didn't tear his ACL? So much excitement. So much
that says
excitement.
cranky.
And I have to watch all the shitty football on Sunday that we've already talked about. And then I guess it's Monday. I gotta wait till 15 Pacific time to watch Rodgers take his first snaps as a New York
I'm
Jet.
guessing you left work early on Monday.
I
You
did.
didn't even come into work.
I went to work and then I went and met my buddy for happy hour. We had a couple of drinks. I was all excited. I'm like, I got some free time, 3 hours till game time. Let me go have a couple beers. I went and had a couple beers with my homie, caught up, came home, got home at 5, let's call it 5:20. I missed like him running the flag. I missed the Bills pretty first drive. I get there, commercial break. Rodgers comes out, handoff, whatever, 2 yards, whatever, cool.
Right.
Next play, clearance, first down. Next play, pass running for his life, throws it away. Next play, torn Achilles. I didn't even get to see him complete a pass. And I come home and I'm trying to talk to my wife and my mother-in-law about like whatever I was just talking about with my homie at happy hour. And my baby's in the house. I turn around and I see him go down and he like
Yeah.
can't get up and I just take my hat and I fucking slam it. God damn it. You know, you've seen it.
Oh yeah, life of a
And
Jets fan, and yeah, I've seen it many
and
times.
we've seen me specifically and I'm just
Yeah.
like I was just like, are you fucking kidding me? And then maybe he'll get up, maybe they'll take him back, maybe he just sprained his ankle, maybe they'll take
Oh,
yada
I
yada
was the
yada.
same way, by the way. I was just like,
Let's be
yeah.
cautious, right? They take him to the tent, and they bring the card out, and I'm like, fuck.
And by the
Zach
way,
Wilson comes in, fuck.
it was raining again in Jersey, right?
Right. It was
Or was it
annoying
clear?
weather. No, it was
Yeah.
drizzling. It wasn't pouring like it was for the Giant game, but it
Yeah,
wasn't
but that stadium
ideal.
claims another, man. I'm tired of this.
Yeah, put grass in already, like everyone else has said
Please.
all week.
And
Just put grass
I didn't
everywhere.
realize that they do it for soccer matches anyway.
Yeah, so that's what David Bakhtiari, who's Roger's best friend, comes out and
Right.
says. You can't say that it's not possible because you're doing it for the World Cup coming up. So fucking just leave it in there.
Yeah, and I
So
swear to God, the Giants had like 10 of these injuries last year. Like
yeah,
10.
did too, man.
Yeah.
The turf at MetLife Stadium. I
I
shit on the fucking link 5 minutes
right.
ago. Sorry, Philly
MetLife is
fans. Let
garbage
me tell
too.
you something that is worse than the link. It's called MetLife Stadium
Yeah.
or MetLife Part Two or whatever. Fuck the Meadowlands Part Two. It's the worst stadium that was ever built. I gotta think that there was a lot of kickbacks and mobsters and unions involved in that bullshit
Yeah, but
because it
New
was
York doesn't
trash.
New York doesn't have like a monopoly on that kind of corruption though. I mean, we're talking about Philly, Boston, like other cities have figured this out.
Right. I'm just saying
How many times have
it
you been there? You're a Jets fan.
I was there the first time it was ever fucking open, and it was so disappointing. It doesn't make any goddamn
How many times you been there total?
like three.
I've been there once. One Giants game
But you live there.
in 10
I have an
yeah,
excuse.
in like what, 10 years more?
I was
Like
there three times in
we're
like
going
two
on like
years.
15 years.
Right.
It's just like it's what's the appeal?
Nothing.
I
It
don't
looks
know.
like it looks like a fucking HVAC unit.
Yeah.
It's the worst place ever to watch a game.
Myself, that I don't have any friends who do like the bus that goes down to the parking lot, but I mean that's why you do that's why you go to football, right? It's just the tailgate. Like
Right.
it's not the greatest live experience. We've been over
No,
this.
it sucks
Um,
live. Unless you're in like a VIP like box,
right, right.
which
Or when you're at a bomb ass party in the parking lot. So
right. Either way, like going if you're sitting in a seat to watch the Jets
yeah,
play or any team play, you're so distracted. There's so much else going on. You got fantasy football going on that day.
you're surrounded
Like
by drunks, probably,
I mean, I've
including
seen so many
yourself.
fights at a football
Yeah,
football. I have
it,
never participated, but
right.
I've
And there's always like
avoided.
kids right there too. It's like just a bad scene, you know.
It's always too much alcohol. But I
Yeah,
can tell you this: when Rodgers went down and they finally were like, okay, they think it's his Achilles, and I started like doing more research, and I'm like, oh, I got to watch another year of Zach Wilson.
yeah.
I shut the game off. I shut the game off in the second. Started talking like he's out for the game.
We have
I'm
that
like,
in common.
yeah. I'm like, I don't want to watch this, right? So then I just went into fucking full on depression. I'm like, God, dude, I can't have nice things. Woe is me. I'm a victim. Bloody, bloody, bloody.
Hey,
And
did anyone learn a lesson about maybe bragging about fantasy wins and getting all fucking cocky? No, we didn't learn a lesson, did
oh, I thought you were calling
we?
me out. I'm like, I
Yeah, no,
love
no,
it.
I was. You were giving me the shit at like 4 on Saturday or Sunday, which was deserved. I lost by like 90 in both fucking
Yeah,
games.
we'll get into that in a second. Don't steal
But
my thunder here.
man, I just need you to think about karma sometimes, brother.
I don't think me talking shit about your shitty fantasy team is equal to my quarterback tearing his Achilles on the fourth play of the year.
Might be, especially week 1.
You are ridiculous, Douglas.
Uh-huh.
Let's talk
That's
about
what
that
I'm
then.
here
Sorry,
for.
Rodgers is out for the year. We're rolling with Zach again. I will say one thing. I feel slightly more confident about Zach because he
You might
played
as well.
he played the whole game.
Yeah.
We beat the Bills. I mean, he only
Right.
threw one interception, didn't do
And
anything.
extremely tough situation to walk into,
I
by
will
the way.
say a few things though that I did notice that he did. He didn't play great, but
No.
he walked into an extremely tough situation.
And I'm
He
sure the
didn't
whole team was like shell shocked, right?
correct. But they fucking won. And yes, they won on a fucking punt return in overtime.
No,
And the throw
the
that he
defense was outstanding.
the
They made
defense was outstanding. It
they
took
made
three
Josh Allen look
interceptions and
look
a
really
fumble
bad.
recovery.
Josh Allen looked like shit.
Josh Allen hasn't looked good since we beat them
Yeah,
last
like
year, to
the
be
Bills.
honest.
Incredible.
I
I'll
don't think the I don't think the Bills are that great this year. Gonna just say it right now.
I'll ask you again though. Do you think you're better than Miami, man? Miami can fucking put up points. Wow.
I mean, I don't know
It's a
yet.
problem now with
Our
Zach. This
defense, I didn't
yeah.
think our defense was as good as it was being hyped to be. And then I watched our defense play and I better than it was hyped to be.
Yeah,
And that's
seriously, dude.
and that's and
And
that's not me being a homer. That's like our defensive line is very similar to what you described the Cowboys doing to the
yeah.
Giants. Like
Yeah, you have the
you
same
don't
thing.
you don't have time to throw the ball.
Right.
And our
And you're
our
cycling in
secondary,
rushers. You have that depth to bring them
we
in and
have
out.
we have six guys that can come off the
Get
edge
after it.
and get
Yeah,
in your booty hole. And
absolutely.
then we can collapse the pocket from the inside with Quinnen, and Quentin Jefferson had 2 sacks. And then you still have Al Woods, who also had a sack, but he's more of a run stopper. And you got Solomon Thomas. Like our defensive line is probably top 3 in the league, if not the best. And that's not like I've never I've always watched us draft defense. It's the joke, right? The Jets draft all these
You guys
defensive
always
linemen.
have good D though. The
We
rec
always see, but like
yeah.
even Rex said, this D looks better than anything I ever put on the field, and he had the top D in the league that one year.
Yeah.
But I think our
That
fucking
Bart
D
Scott
line
year.
is going to wreck shop
Yeah.
all
It looks
year
like it.
if we stay healthy. And our secondary is really good, and our linebackers are Quincy Williams had a game. CJ Mosley is a professional.
Yep.
Sauce and DJ Reed are great on the cornerback position. Jordan White had the game of his career. I don't think he's going to perform like that
Right.
again. But I mean, if
Good for him though.
he's coming off a high, and I don't know, man. So if Zach can just manage the game,
Yeah,
and I'll
it's game time.
so here I hate that phrase, but
I
here's what I'll
know.
say. Was a number two overall pick 3 years ago. He had a bad system in place with Mike LaFleur, who was a new O coordinator trying how to be an O coordinator, who's also not a people person from what every report I've read. He had Rob Calabrese as his quarterback coach, first time ever being a quarterback coach, learning how to be a quarterback coach. Greg Knapp, unfortunately, RIP, he died, and that was the guy that was
God, I
like
forgot about that.
meshing that together as like the senior guy
Yeah,
that had been there before, but was like taking about these guys. And he died in training camp in a really tragic accident on a bike, getting hit on a bike. Right? They brought in Matt Kavanaugh. I don't know what happened the first year with that. That didn't really work. They brought in John Beck. That didn't really help. Like
Matt
they tried a
Kavanaugh
lot of
has a ring.
things.
New York
He
Giants.
does, but it didn't work.
No,
All
I
I'm
know.
saying is it didn't work.
I'm just remembering this here.
And then
Third
so
string,
I'm
1990.
just follow me on this, right? So then they bring in Joe Flacco halfway through the year, the first year, because they didn't have their back quarterback was like Trevor Simeon. Was it Trevor? I don't know who the I don't remember who the
It
their,
was Stravler. Like Simeon was the year before, and he got like
he got
duplexed
hurt.
into the turf.
So who was before they brought in Flacco?
uh,
I don't know. I guess that guy never even played, right? And so then they
well,
bring
you
in
had the Mike White
it was
experience.
Mike White, right?
You
And then
had
it
the
was they bring in Flacco, and Flacco has been very upfront about the fact that he still thinks he should be a starter. He doesn't want to mentor anyone. He didn't want to mentor Drew Lock when Drew Lock was in Denver.
yeah.
He's never wanted to be a part of like he just wants
Well,
to be the
but
starter.
that's
And he's
because
a
Joe Flacco is elite.
no Joe. Yes, sarcasm is great. Joe Flacco is a dickhead, and he's a gruff Vinny Testaverde Frankenstein looking motherfucker
I don't know,
who
Skip. He's elite. He has a Super Bowl.
he has a Super Bowl. So
um,
anyway, man.
sorry. I'm just being annoying. I'm
No,
on
you're
my
not.
third beer.
I'm on my third glass of wine and I can't feel my face. So
Cheers, brother.
the cheers. So the one thing I will say is Zach. He threw one bad interception. It looked like, but if you look at Zach's tape from year one and year two, he is throwing probably 85% off of his time fading back off his back foot,
He's
and
running a lot,
or he's running for his
unfortunately.
life. This game, he's progressing. He progressed through his receivers, his reads, and he climbed. Maybe not every time, but I've literally never seen Zach climb the pocket before, and that is the difference between, in my opinion, between a young quarterback, their arm strength can take him wherever they want, and a guy who's confident that his guys are going to make the blocks for him, step up in the pocket, deliver the ball. Maybe he's going to take a hit, but he's
Just
going to be
sounds
able to
like
deliver the ball.
Yeah, it
And
just sounds like he's logically a little more comfortable this year.
he's got a guy in
So
Aaron Rodgers who is his hero, who has spent the last 8 months mentoring his
yeah,
every move. He's got a guy in Nathaniel Hackett who is knows how to be an offensive coordinator. I'm not saying he was a terrible coach, but he knows how to be an offensive coordinator, and he's not learning on the fly.
when he has a Hall of Fame quarterback, but yes.
He took stop. He took
No, no,
Blake
you're right.
Bortles
You're right.
to the AFC Championship
I
game, and
forgot he was on that
fucking he
Jaguar
fucking should
team.
have. He should have won. They should have
Oh
won
yeah,
that
they
game.
should have beat the Patriots that game.
Yes, that
Absolutely.
wasn't. That was
That's one of
that
my
was
underrated like disappointments. We could have had the Bortles Super Bowl. We were so close.
dude. Still to this day, I don't know if
That
I brought
defense
this
was
up.
insane, by the way, that year.
Insane. And Blake Bortles, and who was it Miles Jack that got was
Yeah.
the guy? I think it was Blake Bortles and Miles Jack used to party when I was a single guy in Newport, and they would be at the bars, and I would run into them. I never was like, hey, Blake Bortles, but everyone would be like, hey, there's Blake Bortles, that's Miles Jack, blah blah blah.
Why were
So
they partying in Newport if they were Jaguars?
I don't know if Blake Bortles lives
He
here
just lives
or
around
decided
there.
to live here. Yeah, it's a very nice
Miles
place to
Jack.
live, as you
Miles
know.
Jack just retired, unfortunately.
I
Pretty
believe
young.
so. I
Yeah,
believe that's correct.
tough
But
sport. So
so
anyway, so
I
you're
feel
cautiously optimistic, and I was gonna reassure you today. I was gonna be like, look, man, this roster still is promising as hell. You just
we
well, you just
look
got to see a
great.
quarterback now,
We look
and
great, and maybe Zach, so we're gonna see what Zach's made of because to your point, they're gonna be coming for him tomorrow. Or they're gonna be the
oh,
Cowboys
I
are gonna
know.
be coming for him.
Speaking of like the worst team to face this week. Jesus.
I,
Um,
I think I think it's going to be a
Shove it
run
back in their
heavy.
faces, though. Yeah.
We are. Dak is going to get hit a lot tomorrow, and I
Yes.
think
It's
and I
Trey Lance
think
season, baby.
we're gonna run. We're gonna run a lot, and we'll see. We'll see how it shakes out, man. We'll see.
Cooper Rush.
As long as we avoid some major injuries, and Zach can get rid of the ball in 2 seconds or less, like
So you're off the ledge.
yeah. I mean, this year we're not going to. I had aspirations of the Super Bowl or at least challenging for it.
We
Now
downgrading to maybe playoffs.
maybe playoffs,
Yeah,
maybe
I think
playoffs,
that's fair.
and I think Rodgers is definitely coming back next year. He's not going. He's
And
already pretty much admitted it. He's not going out like that.
yep, and maybe the Bills aren't that good. I mean, it's week one. It's a really
It's
weird
week
week.
one. Week
The
one.
the Browns, Cowboys, and the Jets look like three defenses. At least one or two of those will not be
Right.
by the end of the year,
Right.
or not. But yeah, so if you want to do the fantasy thing real quick, there's your segue. They completely strangled the Bengals in the rain.
Doug, we played in two separate leagues this weekend. Can you
What are the
please tell the
scores?
Can you
I
please
don't
tell the
think you
audience
like
members at homes the I can tell you the scores. I'll tell you right now.
because I just dipped out, obviously. Um,
The
oh boy,
scores
let's see,
for
week one.
last week's game were in our dynasty league. Mike
Ooh,
Curlin's team
125-92.
125.5. Doug
Oh, look at
Doug's
that.
team
I had
92.64.
three. Yeah, I had three zeros.
He had a zero
DeAndre
from T
Swift,
Higgins.
Sky Moore,
He had
T
a
Higgins.
1.43 from DeAndre Swift, and he had a 0.48 from Sky Moore.
Three
So he got 2
players
points total from three
from
players.
three players. That'll do it.
My tight end, Ferguson outscored
Yeah,
Higgins, Moore, and Swift altogether.
yeah. And he had two catches.
He had 2 receptions for 11 yards. That's all you needed, bro. So, yeah, my team.
DeAndre drops 40 this week, of course.
DeAndre drops 40 when I'm not playing you, which is great. You're playing. I also want you to be because we're in the same division, right? So DeAndre put up a 40, and Josh had Addison with 17 and Goddard with 8.6. And you are percent favorite. I like those odds. And I'm a 67% favorite to beat Jed. I also like those
I'll
odds.
fuck it up. Don't worry. I already actually like Kirk Cousins went nuts in garbage time. Whoops.
Oh, dude, Kirk
This
Cousins
week.
went. Kirk
I was right
Cousins
about
went.
Goff over Cousins last week, though. I got yelled at. Turned out like that's
I am playing
correct thing
Cousins
I did.
I am playing Cousins in another league, and he put up a 44 burger
Mm.
on me, so that was great.
All right.
And then in our
Let's
other
check the
league,
other
Doug,
league. Yeah, let's look. I have not
107.
looked at this.
Mike
Oh,
Curlin
you
to
only put
79.
107. That's
I
not an
did.
impressive week.
It's
I
not,
just,
but
of
I
course,
got a
didn't show
zero
up.
from I got a
Yeah,
zero from Goddard, and
yeah. I got a
Gibbs only put
negative
up
from
7, and
Antonio
Josh
Gibson.
Allen put up 7 points only. You
Yeah,
got a negative from Antonio Gibson, and
nothing
then
from Mixon.
you just didn't really get any touchdowns. That was your problem. Like you
Yeah,
literally
but like
scored
Chase had like
one.
20 yards.
You had one touchdown, two
Yeah.
touchdowns overall.
Oh, I
Deontay,
told watching Red Zone and the Bengals Browns between 1 and 4, and I'm just like I'm getting punched in the face every 5 minutes. And finally, someone scored on my team, and I think during 4 o'clock, I'm like, Jenny, I got a touchdown, and she's like, Why are you still watching?
yeah,
Who was
you
it that
got
scored?
Deontay Smith and got you
Oh
uh,
God, yeah, Fields.
touchdowns.
That's the problem with that team. The
So you literally, but you only had two
Fields isn't
touchdowns
doing anything.
overall. You can't win.
Oh
Yeah,
no,
you can't win with two touchdowns in fantasy. It's just not a
no,
thing.
these teams are but that was a classic beating though.
Yeah,
I'll give it to you. Props.
you're welcome. You're welcome.
You
2 and
are
0
you were the
against.
superior player last week. But I mean, what the hell? The Bengals didn't even.
Joe Burrow came back and they put him in with like no practice, coming off a hurt, whatever fuck he hurt, and
Yeah,
he was just, dude.
like the
And
weather
I
was
will
bad,
say
but Deshaun Watson looked fine,
he didn't look
pretty much.
fine.
I
He
mean,
did
he was
not look
doing
fine.
things.
He ran for a touchdown, but he overall that was just a shitty game in the pouring rain as well. But
Yeah,
the Cleveland defense did look good.
does look nasty.
Yeah, so we'll see about that. We'll see about
We'll
that.
see. But
All right, Dougie. It's been a long, good show.
yeah,
I
man.
think we vented. I think we feel like I feel great now that I've
This was a good
exercised the
session. You'll
demons, and now we can go into tomorrow with new focus. The Giants
revised
and the
expectations.
Jets are
Yes.
going to win. The Giants and the Jets are going to win.
Wait, who are you?
So
Oh, the Cowboys. Yes, please,
yeah,
please get some
you're actually
payback.
rooting for the Jets, exactly.
Oh, hard. Oh, and you know what sucks? Apparently, games are on at the same time. Oh well. But you know what?
Oh,
That's what New York football deserves.
is that an accurate statement?
That's what Josh told me. I didn't.
Are on at 4:25
Yeah, and the
Eastern.
Giants are obviously in
The
Arizona, so
Giants are on at 4:05 Eastern. It is. You guys are gonna win though. I wouldn't even watch that game. Fucking
right.
Josh,
Hopefully, we're
hopefully.
tuning into the
Cousin
Jets game.
Dave, rooting for
Yeah.
you. All
Yes,
right,
Dave.
who?
Go ahead.
What do you got to say? Via con Dios to what?
I am going to leave that to you. I think someone to talk about.
Via con Dios, Aaron Rodgers, Achilles.
Aaron
We
Rodgers.
barely knew you.
We'll see you next year.
See you next year, but we will see you next year, and we'll still have our first round pick. Silver linings. All right,
And we will
Dougie.
see you next week.
I love it. All right. Till next time, audience.